We definitely need an intro. We don't have any music. This is Jake Carney.
And Megan Harris with no intro. Just
with no
starting it
intro,
off.
Yes. Megan said I should actually play my ukulele.
I think it'd be great. It'll be the same 3 chords over and over and over.
I know
on a
Redemption Song.
You know one other. You played me.
No, I've actually been playing a lot. I've been playing Redemption Song, No Woman, No Cry. And it was so funny. Here's the one thing. I got in trouble with Gina last week. Like
Why?
Serious trouble. She's still pissed about it. Since I've learned like 4 chords now, and most like reggae, reggae riffs and stuff like that are just like these 4 chords.
Just for everybody out there listening, he's actually pretending to play right
yeah,
now.
I was playing. I play air guitar as I'm talking about it.
Right now.
And so I learned how to play. I have a favorite band of all time.
I know it.
OAR.
He gets like a giddy little schoolgirl even when we talk about him.
So my ultimate goal in life is to have Mark, the lead singer, on this podcast.
All right, we got to aim high. Maybe he's listening.
Yeah.
If anybody out there knows the lead singer of OAR, please help a brother out.
Yeah, please. But anyways, when they first came out, they played just basically 4 chords in a different strum pattern. And I actually learned the 4 chords in the strum pattern on the ukulele for their song called That Was a Crazy Game of Poker.
I was just about to say that's the one song that always sticks out in my mind about that.
It's awesome. And that song, I have a 6-minute version of it, and then I also have a 27-minute version of it. I love it. But anyways, so I learned how to play it the other day, and I'm sitting there playing just like completely just in the flow state, right? And like Noah's trying to talk, and I felt bad because I was just kind of just
not now. Daddy's in his flow state.
And so Gina kept saying something, and I was just like, I was like, Gina, I just learned how to play Crazy Game of Poker, and she was like, Jake, and I just kept playing. She was like, Jake. I looked at her, I was like, you're not the queen of me. I can do this. And then that just ended the night.
And you remembered she is.
She took the ukulele and hit it. And then like the next day I was like, have you seen my ukulele? Because I completely forgot about it. And she was like, I'm not telling you where it was. So I actually had to find it in the house. She took away my ukulele.
I love Gina.
I was
so
killing it.
You're not the boss of me.
I didn't say boss, I said queen, which I don't know if it was better or worse.
That was a big mistake.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe we'll do the intro with me doing the ukulele.
Not the 27-minute version though.
Yeah, we'll have a 27-minute intro to this podcast.
That's how we'll really find out who our real fans are, who's willing to listen through something like that.
We have a really good show today. We have a lot to go over, a lot to talk about. I'm excited about it.
So am I.
On the show today, we actually have resident doctor Joshua Levitt.
He's awesome.
Josh is awesome. We'll be calling him in.
Speaking of playing music, him and his kids, they could be like a little band themselves.
My God. Yes. We were down in the Keys with them.
A couple months
he just
ago.
picks up a guitar and just starts jamming, and his daughters have unbelievable voices. And I'll ask him. I think like one's like, I don't know, like 10 and 12. I don't even know what their ages are. And they were just jamming
Super talented.
It's awesome. So I don't think he's going to pick up the guitar, although I could try to get him to pick up a guitar and play. I don't know.
Well, maybe we'll put him on the spot another time and do that.
Yeah, and then I'll pick up my ukulele.
Oh, yeah, we'll just have a jam sesh.
And by the way, I'm not that good at all. It's not like I just picked it up and I'm just like a savant and just killing it. In my head, I'm killing it. My neighbors outside are probably thinking
That's the most important thing, though. You have to have the confidence, right?
Oh, I have tons of confidence here by myself on my back patio. Tons. And it's funny is, when I hear people come outside, I start playing a little louder. Because ideally, I want them to be like, yeah, keep playing. I probably won't ever happen. But
you start to hear the dogs barking and the neighbor going, shut up.
Yeah, it's just like,
glass breaking.
But I'm good at it in my own head, and that's what matters. So
that is what matters.
If any of the guys from OAR listen to this, which I know they do every single time.
We love you, especially Jake.
Please come on the show, and then I'll hang it up. So we have a lot of show today, a lot of topics we want to talk about. But one, I guess, not big topic. It is a big topic for Megan. You're going to the Great White North.
I am heading out into the wild next week.
You're going to come back with the beard.
I hope so, right? And like wearing like a bear on my back and stuff. I'm actually going to Alaska. I'm super, super pumped. I'm going with my boyfriend and his parents. He has some family actually that lives out in Anchorage, which seems really strange. You think about like who lives in Alaska, who moves from, the continental United States to Alaska, but a lot of people do. And
they move from?
They moved from the 48 states from here. Yeah. His aunt is from New York.
So she's okay. She's not like an Eskimo.
No, these are like 48.
By the way, Eskimo, is that a legit term?
I have no idea. I think we need to be
careful.
If
I offended anybody by saying Eskimo, I apologize. That was just pure ignorance.
No. I don't really know much either. But no, they
don't go calling people Eskimos.
Yeah, don't do that. They've lived out there for I think like 20 years or more. It's really beautiful. So we're going out to Anchorage for a few days, and then
where do you fly to California
oh my gosh,
and then to Alaska?
Yes, it's a lot of travel.
How long is the flight from California to Alaska?
It's about 4.5 hours, and that's
terrible.
Well, that's after having to fly 5 hours to LAX with a 5-hour layover. I mean, it's a lot of
5-hour layover.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I want to go to In-N-Out.
Oh, is it
the burger chain? I know that's not a very healthy thing to do, but it's really good.
That's what everybody says.
It's really good. It's really
I've
really
been,
really good.
And it's a greasy cheeseburger.
Yeah, but it's healthier greasy cheeseburger. It's
How so?
healthy. I don't like that face.
Is it grass fed?
I don't know, but I
what
tell
kind of
myself,
oil do they cook it in?
You can get probably peanut.
What kind of
or
bread are they
canola.
using?
You can get it without bread.
Oh, makes it healthy.
They wrap it in lettuce. Probably not organic, but we're really excited. So we're going out to Anchorage for a few days.
So you say you're going to In-N-Out. So will you actually come out of the airport and go back in?
Yeah, you can.
I'm not making a pun out of that.
No,
with
you
In-N-Out,
actually can. You actually can. There's one right by the airport.
Is that what you're doing? Or
Probably.
Or is you just there one inside the airport?
I don't think there's one inside the airport. I think if we don't get out of the airport, we'll probably just drink at a Chili's to go.
They do.
Those are fun.
That's when they say you order a beer and they say you want a shot with that for $2. And you're like, does anybody say no to that?
You'll be seeing us with those giant frozen cocktails that have like the Corona sticking out of them. Coronas with floaters. I love spring break. So yeah, we're going to Anchorage for a few days, and then from there we actually go up into the Denali National Parks, and we're camping right out. We're camping these cabins right outside there.
No, wait, tents or cabins?
Like fancier cabins.
There's showers and there's
it's
toilets.
We're calling it glamping. Yes, but here's the thing. Okay, so this is something I want to make a disclaimer out there. I consider myself to be very, very easygoing. I love to camp. I can rough it. I can go days without showers.
Oh yeah, you go on those
stuff.
like music festivals and you have like the flowers in your hair and stuff like that. Yeah.
But I also have camped a lot, and I love to camp and sleep in tents and all that. The only thing that's kind of scary is when we're staying in these cabins and whatnot. We're going bear watching. I'll get to that. But
good thing you're not going bear hunting.
Alaska is permafrost. So in some of these places that we're staying, like in Denali,
the ground's still frozen.
Yeah, so you don't flush toilet paper. You have to to throw it away.
What do you mean throw it away?
Like in a garbage, like there are garbage cans to do that. I know. So that's
is it
kind of gross.
I mean, is it a regular garbage can?
I don't think it's like where you step on it and the top comes up and you just throw away.
So is it something that helps with the
stink?
because
they can't like put it into the ground because it's permafrost. So
I would just say it's easier for ladies. Ladies are cleaner than guys.
Yes,
we'll just say that guys are like bears trying to wipe themselves.
Colin's gonna need like one of those hefty big black garbage bags.
It sucks.
So we go to Denali. We go whitewater rafting for a trip. We're gonna go to Homer, Alaska for a bit.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a beautiful remote area of Alaska. We are going on a trip to go. We take like a private plane to this little area where we see the Kodiak bears. We get to see them like in their natural habitat. But that's like a really intense. I'm kind of scared. We have to take a lot of little planes to different places because then we also take a little plane to Halibut Cove. And the coolest thing about Alaska is
what's in Halibut Cove?
Wah, wah, wah. And the coolest thing right now about Alaska, I think, is the fact that the sun actually sets around 11:30 and it rises at 4:30 in the morning.
Wait, say that again. It sets at what time?
11:30 p.m. and it rises at about 4:15, 4:30 a.m.
Cool.
So it's like you have so much time all day, every day.
That's awesome.
I know. It's kind of crazy, right?
But
last time I was up when the sun was still up like that was a long time ago.
It was actually a couple months ago. You had some friends in town. You said you went out.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, that sucks. No, but that's kind of cool that you actually get to get up that early. And will you get up at 4:30 or no?
I'm sure the first few days. I mean, I wake up so early all the time anyways. And when I'm on vacation,
I just mentioned like a big ball of energy the entire time.
I am. Every time I wake up, it's like I don't even need coffee in the morning. It's really just for show. So I go into the wild, but Jake gets to go to the most magical place on earth.
Which is literally Disney. So complete polar opposite of
no,
Alaska.
but still so fun there.
No, it's cool. We're heading out there.
Has Noah been there before?
She has been there before. So here's what we did. We're deceptive parents, probably terrible parenting.
This is good. Good. Lie to your children.
Yeah, my daughter's birthday is the 4th of July. So she already believes that the American flags are her birthday flags.
Well, they are.
And she's obviously convinced that there's fireworks on her birthday, and there will be for the rest of her life, which there will be. But the problem is, at being 3, she doesn't know calendars, right? And really dates or anything like that. So when we asked her, it was like a couple weeks ago, what do you want to do for your birthday? Animal Kingdom. We were like, what do you want to do for your birthday? Disney. I want to go to Animal Kingdom. So we kept asking her. So we started like looking at like rates and stuff, and they're crazy expensive for 4th of July.
Yeah.
And I think that everybody and their mother goes on 4th of
Mm-hmm.
July. So Gina and I are like, shit, what are we going to do? We really don't want to go to Disney on 4th of July. So what we did was we looked at tickets for a couple weeks before her birthday and convinced her this week. I was like, guess where we're going this weekend? Animal Kingdom for your birthday.
Oh my God.
So we're going to kind of celebrate her birthday this week. And then we're going to celebrate it again in 2 weeks when she has a regular birthday, but here.
That's great. So now every year from when she's 3 years old on, she's going to assume she gets 2 celebrations.
Yeah.
That was really smart. Can't wait till she's 16.
I'm fine with doing that. Just, as long as I don't have to go to Disney on July 4th with a 3-year-old. So
yeah, those are some long lines.
And it's hot as hell, I've heard.
It is.
It's going to be hot.
You know, I've never been to Animal Kingdom.
It's cool.
I hear it is really cool.
I mean, it's great for kids. Like when we took her to the Magic Kingdom the first time or whatever, and she was just like wasn't into it.
Well, she's still a little small for some of the rides.
But the Animal Kingdom, she just loves animals.
Aww,
loves
she's
animals.
So cute.
So I guess I don't do the characters, like the whole thing of like waiting in line to meet a character, like a person dressed as, in this stuffed animal costume. I think it's ridiculous. But you see like people waiting like 3 hours to meet
to get the
Buzz
autographs.
Lightyear. Yeah. But there's one character that I will wait in line because the line is never long, and it's Rafiki from Lion King. Because his like little thing is like you have to take a train to get to his section, and he's like where the petting zoo is, and there's like only like 3 kids in line for poor Rafiki, and he's kind of cool. He kind of has like a cool philosophy about life, so I always like to go up there, and so she loves it, so we go take a picture.
Cool story. I was in a sorority in college with a girl that was actually a character at Disney World.
Oh man.
So she's beautiful. And so obviously like when you're a girl and very, very pretty, the ultimate goal is to be Cinderella.
Yeah.
And she ended up being the character Cinderella. And so she loved it. Like that was a goal for her, and she was gorgeous. But the crazy thing is a lot of these characters, obviously those are the ultimates, right? You want to be the princes, the princesses, the Mickeys and Minnies, the really popular ones. So what they make you do, it's like any job where you start from the bottom. You have to start as like the really crappy characters in the really hot costumes.
Oh my God.
And it's like you have to slowly work your way up the line.
Yeah.
So I remember she was always on the weekends leaving college to go down to Orlando because we were up in Tallahassee.
I always wondered about that. That's so
So
cool.
it's like be nice to the person that's like one of the chipmunks, because it's probably like the
They don't
future
wanna be Chip and
Ariel.
Dale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't want to be Chip and Dale. They want to be like the Little Mermaid.
There's this one website I was looking at. It was like behind the scenes at Disney of all the people just like that, and they were talking about like how hot as hell it is.
Oh my God, they have little
like
air
people-
conditioning things in them.
but stories like people throwing up inside there and they still have to stay because they have 5 more minutes. Like, could you imagine? You're sitting there just like,
What if
a
you were
chipmunk,
hungover?
You threw up in your thing, and there's like these little kids squeezing you in your belly, and you're like, I just really want to get out of here. But we do have to. We actually felt really bad this week. We had to take her because we went out to dinner. It was my mom's birthday on Monday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, a bunch of June and July birthdays. We're a summer family. And beautiful restaurant, got done, really nice. It was on the water.
That was a nice picture I saw.
Thank you. And this happened literally about 40 seconds after that. There's, palm trees in Florida. You have these palm trees and you have lights on them that shoot up. These like these big halogen spotlights at the bottom. And Snow was playing in the grass, and she saw the light, and she went at it. And we were just like, no, you're like
Everything
30 feet
happens
back.
in slow motion.
No, and she puts her hand
On the light
top
bulb?
of the light bulb for like literally like 2 seconds and pulls it off.
no.
And is that brief second she kind of looks, you're like, this is gonna be bad. And just that blood curdling screaming. And this happened at 7:00. From 7:00 to 11:00 at night, constant screaming the entire time.
That hurts so bad.
So my mom's a nurse, so she was doing some things. So we literally were, back and forth between ice and water, ice and water, ice and water. So I was texting with Dr. Josh. We're talking in a second, and texting with Dr. Josh. What should I do? He was giving me some tips and stuff like that. So it was just one of those where it sucked for 4 hours. And I remember looking at Gina, I was like, we're not gonna get any sleep tonight. This sucks. But this poor girl, just
It's so much
terrible.
pain.
Yeah. And so I remember like at about like 10:30, I picked her up, took her out of bed. And I don't know if you've ever, you'll hear parents talk about they get this sick feeling in my stomach, but she was sitting there just still screaming. And I was like, let's take a break from the water. Let's just kind of like walk around so you can stop panicking. And she just looked at me in my eyes and she's like, my hand hurts. My hand's burning. And I was just like, and at that point, like I literally felt like I was going to throw up. And when we went back into bed, I was talking with Gina, Noah was there with us. And Gina said, she was like, I just feel hungover right now. I was like, you just feel sick because there's literally nothing we can do. So we went back and forth between water and ice. And finally she went out, and she did sleep from like 11 to 5, got up, complaining, dipped it in water a little bit. And then the next day, we decided she could skip school. So I kind of had a daddy-daughter day, and we listened to what I did on Tuesday. Breakfast. Went to the zoo. After the zoo, I had to get a couple more podcast things, so we went to what I call the guitar store. There's like hundreds
You're
of
like
guitars.
famous there with all the equipment you keep buying.
Yeah, they walk in and they're like, ching. She
Here
loves
comes the
guitars.
sucker.
She loves all this stuff. And so she like walked in and was like the pearly gates for her. She's like, I told her, I was like, please do not touch anything. And she was just strumming all the guitars like on the walls and stuff. There's steel drums. She was playing steel drums. She loved it. So we were at the guitar store. She got a new harmonica. And so we went from there. And her mom, I think this is a dirty trick, before we left to go to the zoo, had told Noah, asked her if she wanted to go get her toenails painted. So that never left her mind. So after we left the guitar store, she's like, I want to get my toenails painted. I was like, you sure you want to do that today? She's like, yeah, my hand hurts. And I'm like, all right.
I love this. I love
so
Noah.
I went, and so like there's this one place that, and I don't like her typically painting her toenails or whatever, but I felt so bad for the girl. So went to this one place, they put toenail polish on her, and she's sitting there with like, paper towels between her toes and everything.
She must love that.
And then,
little girls
but
love
I didn't
stuff
know
like
this.
that.
Like, I'm just a guy. My dad didn't know this. Well, she can't really walk in her shoes. She had like shoes and socks.
Yeah, you
I
can't put
put
your
them back up.
shoes
So I had
on.
to carry her from like there to. Then we actually had lunch at Whole Foods, and then she wanted to go to a park. And I was like, "You sure? You look tired." No, I want to go to the park. Literally within a minute, she was out. So I was like, well, I don't want to go home. I just like, let me just drive. So I drove for like an hour along the beach. I was able to go. To drive through Starbucks and get a Starbucks. So I could kind of like, and she wakes up at that point. She's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, So then we go to a park after that.
She's like sleeping with one eye open. She hasn't forgotten.
Yeah. So we go to a park. It's awesome. And then I forget what else we did. So after that, like I came home and I was like, Gina, it was like 5:30 by the time I got home. I was like, I just need a beer. I was like, this is a long day. And Gina was like, she's gonna want to be sick every single time.
Yeah, seriously.
So we had a really good time.
You're going to be in trouble when she's older.
Yes. The one thing that we did not tell you at the top of the show was that we actually also have a free giveaway again.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. We actually have 3. Well, 3 people are
Well,
going
it's
to
one
win.
giveaway, but 3 people are going to win.
That's right. And we are going to announce the winner of the Berkey Water Filter Giveaway,
Yes.
which was awesome. All the submissions
Yes,
we
we got a lot of good questions for that.
But in our normal fashion, we're not going to tell you how you can win the gift or what it is until later on
That's
in
right.
the show.
Later on in the show. So the next topic I actually want to get to is something I literally know nothing about, and I wanted to ask Megan.
Which is crazy to me because it really is all over the news.
It is. I just kind of like when I get like that stuff that pushed in my face, I almost kind of like
It's
turn
almost
off.
like very sensationalized at
Yeah.
this point. The fact that it is such national news. So for many of you out there, maybe some of you that don't know, there is a woman right now that is very, very, very popular in the news, and for a pretty unfortunate negative reason. Her name is Rachel Dolezal, and she is a woman that, for all intents and purposes, identifies herself as a black woman, an African American. However, it came out last week that her parents, whom she is estranged from, held a press conference, and they said, our daughter, who has been living as a black woman for 10 years or so, is actually not. She is as white as it can be. She is a very, very, very light-skinned, blue-eyed, blonde-haired white woman. And that they went out. Obviously, the family has a lot of issues, and I don't even really understand why the family would out her when she was sort of living her own life, doing her own thing in a completely different state. But they came out and they said, our daughter is a fraud. She, as it turns out, is actually the head of the NAACP Spokane, Washington chapter. Well, that's a huge deal. The fact that she is the head of that, and she's been saying for years and years, I'm a black woman. She now is saying she's transracial, all of this stuff.
Okay.
So basically, this big debate.
Give me all the facts.
So the big debate that's coming out right now is, this is a woman that says she is black, and if you look at photos of her, she appears to be at least of
I've seen her.
a mixed race.
Are they dreads? Are they braids?
She's
braids.
got like braids, sometimes
she's
like
got a nice,
really curly hair.
Obviously a tan now that it comes out.
Exactly. Well,
Saw
that's
that.
the thing.
Okay.
So she's got sort of that
okay
like
with this.
light caramel colored skin, whatever. But the thing is, she leads the chapter of the NAACP. She
Has
identifies.
she done good things?
She does really good things. That's what I think makes this so
honestly,
sad.
So what is the issue?
Exactly. Well, the big issue is the fact that this is a woman who is leading a predominantly black African-American organization who says that she is this African-American. And people are going crazy saying, how dare she do this? She's misrepresenting herself. People trusted her. It's coming out of the woodwork. There's a gentleman that I guess she considers a father figure to her who is an African-American, who she has said for many years is her father. Yeah. She has adopted brothers and sisters who are African-American. And One of them, I guess, lives with her.
Okay.
And she has always said that he's her son. She actually is divorced from an African-American man, and they have a multiracial child together. So in a lot of ways, she lives a life as somebody who is of mixed race, and that's how she sees herself. And the crazy thing is she's on all these news outlets now, CNN and NBC, and, she's on the Today Show, and Matt Lauer saying to her, well, are you black? Who do you identify with? And she is basically saying that since the age of 5 years old, she has identified herself as being an African-American, as being black. She was saying, and this is a quote, "I was drawing self-portraits with the brown crayon instead of the peach crayon and the black curly hair."
What's a crayon?
Ha ha ha.
You say crayon. Crayon.
You call it a crayon?
Crayon, yeah.
It's a crayon. Oh, wow, that's funny. Okay.
Do you really say crayon?
Yeah, that's what I call it.
Is it a 2-syllable word for you or one?
Crayon.
Is that 2 syllables or one?
Crayon. One?
Crayon. You really say crayon.
And you're really getting off the rails here.
Sorry.
I really do say crayon.
Crayon.
Okay, so she's been drawing with a brown crayon. It doesn't even sound right. Since she was 5 years old.
Phonetic.
So all this stuff is coming out. And basically, what's so sad about this, I think, is people are really, really, really upset. People that know her, she was forced to resign from the NAACP. Yep. People are very upset. Her parents, it's like almost like a witch hunt,
If those are the facts that you gave me, so I'm going off that, right? So if anybody else knows anything on this story, I'm just going on what Megan just told me. I still don't see the issue.
Exactly. I don't personally either. Here's the thing that the reason I wanted to talk about this and bring this up is because about 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago.
You might have heard this before.
You probably heard this. I mean, this was everywhere. Many people know that the former Olympian, of course, everybody knows, Bruce Jenner, recently came out publicly and he has transitioned into a woman, Caitlyn Jenner.
Right.
That's all over magazines. He did an interview with Diane Sawyer, all of that. Now, here's the thing, and I support this. I think it's great.
Sure.
I'm a very of liberal mind. If you're not bothering me, you can do whatever the hell you want.
That's more libertarian, but go ahead.
All right. Yeah, fine. That is true. I feel as though people were so accepting when Caitlyn Jenner came out. And if you ever watch the interviews that when it was Bruce Jenner did with Diane Sawyer and such, she said, "I have identified as a woman from birth. I am a woman trapped inside the wrong body." And people have been fairly accepting of that. Sure. So why is it we're in a time now where somebody can come out and say, "I feel like I have always been a woman trapped in a man's body. Now I am going to present myself as a woman with surgery and makeup and on magazine covers and changing my name." And yet we can't accept somebody that says, "I feel as though I was born of a different race and I'm changing my appearance and I'm bettering with a career and all of these things that she's done another race."
That's how I feel. When you were kind of, prepping me for the show and what you were talking about, that was kind of my thing was, I knew a little bit about it, but not like all the facts and things like that. I just don't understand the big deal. Here's where it becomes a big deal. Was she doing this just to further, her financial career, right? Was she doing, and this goes for both Caitlyn Jenner and Rachel Dolezal or whatever the name is. Are they just doing this for money? And I can't decide that. You can't decide. It's only them, right?
Yeah,
they can only decide whether they're doing that. And so if she's truly, truly doing this, I'm speaking of the Rachel character now, she's truly doing this that's how she felt, all for it, right? And if she did good things, I don't know her track record or NAACP. I don't know anything about that. She wasn't fired
She
previously.
certainly wasn't harming anyone.
Right, she wasn't fired previously. I think she's no longer working with them.
She was forced to resign now,
right. I just don't see the issue. And what is let's just say, what is there, I don't know this. Are there any white people that are heads of the NAACP? I mean, I don't think they should be excluded from that. Even if she did a really good job, okay, you know what, you guys may now see me as a white person, but I still was doing a good job. Why can't she still run that? I don't know.
I guess maybe people feel that, she really sort of obviously misidentified herself. I mean, would the situation be different if Caitlyn Jenner was never Bruce Jenner and was the head of the women's right movement, and then it came out that, she was born a man?
Right.
I mean, but still, does that really make such a big difference? No. Right. It's not like she was doing something wrong. And if you're thinking about it from financial gain, it's not, certainly now. I mean, I would imagine, and I honestly have no idea, I'm just going by just speculation here. I would imagine that if you're the head of the NAACP or any sort of organization, are you really doing it for money? Are you really getting so much money out of it? She's probably doing it.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly. It's not like she was on magazine covers or selling stories. Her parents weren't selling a story to somebody.
Right.
They went to a local news, I believe in Minnesota.
She probably was not making millions working for the NAACP
Exactly. It wasn't
Spokane.
behooving her to change her race.
I mean, if that's how she felt, that's how she felt. You
Exactly.
know, even though it might seem odd to people, right? It might seem, not
Sure.
normal. Fine, I get it, but truly, what is normal? But I from everything that you've told me and everything that I've seen just recently, as of when you were sending me the stories, from everything that you've told me, I don't see an issue with it. I really don't see an issue with it, right? I know that it's just. It is a tough situation, right? But for this specific person, if that's how they felt, right?
Exactly.
And I almost see just like let them be. I mean, they weren't doing anything maliciously. I really don't.
No.
From everything you told me, it didn't sound like malicious, but
No.
well, I don't know.
It's just crazy. I think that we're more accepting now, it seems, of somebody wanting to change their gender, which is amazing that we live in a time where people are finally coming around to the fact that there are people that, maybe identify a different way. So why is it that if in some ways it's not like she had to go through so much physical changes to do that?
Well, here's what it came down to for me was if you choose to be accepting of one person, you
can't pick and choose.
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
You can't pick and choose. You got to be accepting of everybody. If you really want to take and that's the role I take. With gays, with anything. Anybody now, even people who have different political views than me, I'm accepting of every single one. All right, if you believe that the sky is black, talk to me. Why do you think that? Let's just, fine, you're cool. Let me get your thought process on that. And you just can't pick and choose who you're going to be accepting of. And I think that's where I hope things change in the future. It's not picking and choosing of who you're accepting. It's accepting of every single person, regardless. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, I'm sorry, but you want to accept this person, you cannot, not accept that person. You got to be accepting of everybody.
Absolutely. And if you think that she's wrong, if you don't accept Rachel Dolezal or Caitlyn Jenner or whatever it is, if you guys have different viewpoints out there than Jake and I do, then that's fine. You are every bit entitled to feel that way. I just think it's really sad when people try to push their agenda on other people and affect the way that they live and their families and how they make a livelihood and such.
Yeah, no, if it comes out she was doing this maliciously for some reason, that's different.
Exactly.
But if it's
doesn't seem like it at this
person,
point.
from the facts that you've given me, if this person just truly felt as if that they were a black person.
And that's exactly as she's maintained.
Then I don't see an issue with it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you figured that out.
All right, what are we going to solve next? World peace?
Yes. If you guys have any, questions or any, major
Comments?
traumas in your life and you need them fixed, just bring them to us.
Yeah. We got a couch here, too, if you need to lay down.
So the next segment that I want to get to is...
Taking a hard left here.
We're taking a very hard left. One of my favorite people in the world is Dr. Joshua Levitt. Dr. Joshua Levitt is the resident naturopathic doctor for the Alternative Daily.
Can you explain what that is?
What?
Naturopathic?
I can have him do it.
Okay. Putting you on the spot. Jake always does this to me.
I love it. I'm gonna have him do it. No, he's an extremely knowledgeable guy. Dr. Josh. The one cool thing I like about him is he's also very accepting of everybody.
He's wonderful.
Even some Western medical doctors and stuff like that. He's all for just making a person healthier and better, regardless whatever you need to take. And so and he just has a very good natural approach to everything. So we're gonna dial him up and tell him he's won a new car.
He's one of my favorite people to follow on Facebook. He always posts like these awesome videos of his kids and stuff. He's really cool. Yeah. So what's he gonna win? A car? Is he gonna win your car?
He's gonna win a surf trip to Bali.
Awesome. I wish.
Yeah, we'll all go.
Watch, he doesn't answer.
Maybe
I'm always worried people aren't
I
going
know,
to answer.
because the voicemail. I gotta be quick with the hang up button because the voicemail.
Hey, this is Josh Levitt, and you've reached my cell phone.
Oh, no. All right, well, he doesn't win. Who are we going to next?
Well, let me just call Gina. Maybe she'll pick up. She's in the other room.
He'll call us back in a minute. Should we move on to the next thing before we...
Well, the next thing I had on here was
the questions.
Questions, which we can actually get into right now. We do have a winner for... Actually, you know what? Perfect thing to go to is how to win your free bottle. Here's what I'm getting.
This is awesome, by the way.
Here's what we do. Dr. Josh threw me for a loop there. I have my whole kind of topics going out, and I just kind of like, now what do I do?
Isn't it nice, you guys, to see that this is a live podcast?
Yeah.
So we just go with it.
I can just mute that thing. Anyways, that's So funny. So here's the deal. If what we're going to give away this week is 1 bottle of Manuka honey to 3 people.
Yep.
So 3 people will get the opportunity to get a bottle of Manuka honey. This is really, really expensive stuff. It's
This
really
is
high quality stuff.
amazing stuff. I've actually wanted to buy it a few times, and it's a little intimidating.
Yeah,
with
Megan's
the
actually
price.
done a few videos on Manuka honey. Manuka honey is a specific honey from New Zealand, right? So it's not local or anything like that. And I know we talk about local honey, and Josh is going to talk about this if we get him on the line. One thing that we're actually going to do, one thing that Manuka honey is good for is for burns. So if I had some on hand, it would have been really good for Noah. Burns, wounds, but it also has some good gut flora properties. So there's definitely some good bacteria. So if you want to eat it, it actually tastes like cake batter.
It's delicious.
It tastes like cake batter. It's really good. I have yet to put it in my coffee. I haven't tried it. It's thick. It's not like your typical liquid honey, but it's really thick. So here's what you got to do to win your free jar of Manuka honey. This stuff is awesome.
It's really, really cool. I've actually had, I get a lot of facials and stuff from my skin. And I've had quite a few facials done by this one all-natural esthetician. And she will put raw Manuka honey on my skin.
Really?
Yeah, it's really, because it treats wounds and such. So when you get your skin, when you get a facial, and they do, this is kind of going to sound gross, but when they do cleansing and extractions and stuff.
Ugh.
I love it.
I hate it.
I love it. She will put the raw Manuka honey on my little wounds. Yeah, because it's an antibacterial, anti-inflammatory.
I am a big fan of massages now.
You're such a snob.
I am not a snob. It's really good. I highly recommend them for everybody in the world.
Yeah, they are. And they are great if you work out and such. It is really important to treat yourself to massages every now and then because it's really good for your muscles.
Yep. Careful with the deep tissue stuff. Some people react differently to it. But I went and got the very first massage was 10 years ago, whatever. Gina wanted to do this couples once. I got a massage. The massage felt great. And then she got me a facial. And I was like, oh, cool. And so it started off awesome. Massaging my face, putting in some good, oils onto it, etc. And then she's like, okay, I'm going to start the extraction. And I'm like, oh, cool. Everything's been great. and then they started the extraction, which is, getting the little blackheads out and cleaning out the pores. And I just remember I actually had to tell her to stop. I was like, am I paying for this? I don't want this. I want my blackheads. Keep them here.
That's like my favorite part of the facial is getting all the extractions.
So Dr. Josh said to try him again. So here's what you got to do to win your jar of honey. I'm sorry.
And we're gonna give this away to 3 different people. So
yes,
chances are really good.
So here's what this is going to be an interesting thing. So email us. Email Jake at thealternativedaily.com.
JAKE at thealternativedaily.com.
Yep. And subject line honey. And here's what you're gonna do. You have to tell us one of your best healthy stories. It doesn't have to be weight loss. It doesn't have to be cooking story. It can be whatever you want. Your best healthy story. And what we want to do is we're going to take the best 3, and we're actually going to interview you live on air for it.
Sounds really cool.
Yeah, so you guys can actually, we'll call you up just like we're missing Dr. Josh's call right now.
And you better answer because then we're not going to send you the bottle of honey.
And you can just kind of banter back and forth with us, and you guys get a bottle of honey.
So those are the so once again, email Jake at thealternativedaily.com. The subject line is honey. And we want you to share a story with us, a funny story, an inspirational story, anything you want about your health journey. And again, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be I lost 100 pounds. It can be anything you want. And just make sure if you write that in, if we choose you, we're going to want to read your story live on our show. And we'd like to call you on our show so we can talk to you about it. So make sure you guys are comfortable with all those things. We wouldn't give any personal information out or anything on the show.
Yep.
We'll just post that online.
Awesome. All right, so we're gonna try and ring Dr. Josh again.
All right, here we go. Now I'm nervous.
I know.
I can't believe we put it out. See, my mom would say we put it out there in the universe that he wasn't going to answer.
That's true.
Hello?
There he is.
Oh, there you are.
So, Dr. Josh,
there.
we just tried calling about like 5 minutes ago, and
you were putting us on ice.
Megan said, "I hope it doesn't go to voicemail," and sure enough, went to voicemail. And then the show froze for a second. We were kind of like, "Oh God, what do we do?" So, welcome.
Sorry, I have no idea what happened. My phone seems to be working normally. We've tech
Awesome.
trouble.
So, Dr. Josh, as I mentioned before, Dr. Josh is one of my favorite people in the world. He's the resident doctor for the Alternative Daily, and he's an awesome contributor. He's a father. I was going to say he's a father and husband to 3, but the other way around. He's
very progressive.
Yeah. He's a husband and father of 3, and actually has his naturopathic clinic in
Connecticut?
In Connecticut. Yep. Welcome to the show, Dr. Josh.
It's great to be here. The feelings are mutual, Jake and Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Dr. Josh, Megan actually had a quick question, which I kind of stuttered on. I was like, oh, I don't know the answer to it. She says, what is a naturopathic doctor?
Wow, that's a good question. How much time do you have?
Oh, man.
Give us the abbreviated version.
I'll give you the abbreviated version and just sort of a little bit about myself. So I grew up in a family of Western medical doctors, so I too had that same question when I was younger and came through my education at UCLA. I studied neurophysiology there, intent on becoming a doctor like the doctors that I knew in my family. So what happened for me was, kind of an awakening that happened after college where I just sort of began to realize that there were other ways to be a doctor. I was interested in herbal medicine. I was interested in nutrition, and it became clear to me that Western medicine didn't offer any coursework or training in nutrition, in herbal medicine,
right,
and then in a lot of the physical medicine things that I was interested in, body work, manipulation, stuff like that. And so I set off on the course to try to find out, is there some kind of doctor that can still see patients, something that I always wanted to do, but yet get this training in these other, what you might call alternative areas. And it turns out that this field called naturopathic medicine exists. This was a dominant form of medicine many, many years ago, like 100 years ago or so. And with the advent of Western medicine and better living through chemistry and drugs and pharmaceuticals and surgical techniques, you sort of lost natural or naturopathic medicine starting in about the 1940s, and it just sort of stayed quiet and not a field of any great interest in America until about the mid to late 1980s when it kind of got rekindled.
Yep.
And now naturopathic medicine is an advanced degree. Most people have an undergraduate degree in the sciences and pre-medical training, and licensed naturopathic doctors go to a 4-year graduate level, doctorate education, and then many do a residency after that. That depends on what state you might live in. But we have training, didactic, that is book training that's really on par with conventional medical schools these days, and clinical education that happens in clinics that are associated with these educational institutions. And depending on the state you live in, naturopathic doctors may be licensed to provide all levels of healthcare, from primary care to specialty types of medicine.
Is that true? Is that true in Connecticut?
Go ahead.
Is that true in Connecticut?
It's true in Connecticut. Yeah, absolutely. Connecticut's a good state for practice. So in my practice, we are considered specialists by most insurance companies, and we do business with insurance companies. So the majority of the patients that come and see me give us their insurance card. We bill the insurance just like you would a normal doctor's office. The thing that's not normal, or the thing that's different about it, is the amount of time we're able to spend with patients. Patient office visits are an hour long, and return visits are at least 20 minutes to a half an hour. So you get a lot of time with the doctor, and we get to focus on things like the diet and nutrition, use herbal medicine, all of that natural medicine stuff up in the patient interaction.
Yeah, that's the one thing he was telling me, Megan, a while back ago, was that when we go to see like a doctor, like if you go to your primary care physician or whatever, you're sitting in there like, oh, my arm hurts, or like I've been having chest pains or whatever it is. And you see like an assistant for maybe like you spend your 10, 15 minutes and just filling out stuff. And you might see the doctor for like another 10. And then doctor comes back in, says, well, I think it's this, on a piece of paper, gives you a prescription, and then that's it.
Or they're like, you have to go see this person and then go see this person.
Well, the cool thing is like Dr. Josh, I don't want to say he's a therapist too, but like he gives like it's a whole it's a whole hour. And he'll tell you, sometimes, people just lay everything onto him. And a bunch of times that's also part of, what's wrong too, is, people, one, need people to, need somebody to talk to. But then two, he's getting the whole kind of realm of the person. So it's cool.
Feels much more personalized that way.
Yeah. Yeah. As he's mentioned, though, to me previously, that in Florida, it's not the same as Connecticut in terms of the laws. So if I ever need medical attention,
you got to go up north.
I'm going to fly up north to Connecticut. So
yeah, I'll welcome you here. And it's true. I mean, it's like, it's a gratifying thing both for patients, I think, who want to be cared for as the human that they are. And it's also gratifying for me because you get to relate to people in a real and more authentic kind of way, one of the ways that I say it, and this always gets people's eyes to open up a little bit, is, people will come into me with a problem. Like they have an issue, something is on the agenda. Let's just say it's their elbow or their stomach or something, whatever it might be. And what I often say to them is like, all right, let's focus on that. Like, we'll talk about your stomach and we'll talk about whatever it is that's ailing you there. And then we're going to spend some time getting to know the person in whom that stomach resides.
Right.
And it turns out that, like, there's so often that the story of sort of who a person is has a lot to do with what their problem is, even though, like, we might talk about the diet or their sleep or their stress or
right.
whatever's happening in their life. And a lot of times these sorts of things provide the clues or the answer to whatever it is that the center of the problem was. And a typical medical specialist will miss that, because if they're a GI doctor and they don't find out that person doesn't go to sleep till 4 a.m. every day, that's the problem, So you have to know the person too, and that's the way I operate.
Now, in places like here in Florida, and places that don't, I guess you could say, recognize naturopathic doctors as physicians, what do you recommend for somebody? Obviously, you're not going to tell people not to go to their PCP, et cetera. But if they want a more natural approach, are there naturopathic doctors in states like Florida or Alabama or places that don't typically have them, or is your I don't want to say second best bet, or should they also be looking for chiropractors too? If somebody's kind of tired of their PCP and they're kind of tired of the Western style of it, which whatever, if it's not working for them, if they want to try something else, what are their options?
Yeah, so I never recommend that anybody abandon their primary care doctor. I think Western medicine has a lot of great stuff to offer. But yeah, people are looking to just sort of expand the offering or add to or complement the Western medicine that they're already getting. There's a couple of things. Number one, there are naturopathic doctors like me that are trained like me in all states. That doesn't mean that those states are licensed. And the best resource or reference I can give people for that is the National Association of Naturopathic Doctors. It's called the American Association of Naturopathic Doctors. We abbreviate it AANP. And the website for them is naturopathic, which is like it sounds, NATUROPATHIC, naturopathic.org.
Yep.
And on there's a place to find an ND, and you'll find that you can do a zip code search and the typical sort of web thing and find a naturopathic doctor in the area.
Cool.
That does not mean that those people who you might find are necessarily going to be licensed to practice medicine in the state that you're in, but they exist, and so those people can be used to give you counsel. They won't take insurance if they're not licensed in the state, but that's a great place to start for people. And naturopathic doctors are are very definitely the highest trained providers in alternative medicine at the physician level. There are increasing amounts of MDs, like regular medical doctors, that are starting to dabble in nutrition, herbal medicine, and what's called functional medicine. And those people can be a good resource. And like you mentioned, there's chiropractors and acupuncturists, many of whom have taken advanced training in things like nutrition and herbs and this sort of holistic approach. It's hard to give direct referrals because it's such a practitioner-dependent thing, So you talk to your friends just like you would talk to them about, a good person to trim your trees or to cut your lawn, and take a look at the Naturopathic Doctors Association, the AANP.
Awesome. And then at the end of the show, we're actually going to give out Dr. Josh's cell phone number so everybody can call you if you have any problems.
And his address.
Yeah, great. Yeah, just text me your medical questions. Send me a picture of your rash, and I'll see if I can help you.
It's completely legal too. Don't worry about it. And we'll give you a free.
He'll take cash.
Yeah, we'll give you a free blender too. So actually, speaking of something free, I actually want to get into a question, which is, Dr. Josh, we told you this last week. We actually ran a contest for somebody to actually propose a question to the podcast, and this is a really good question, and it kind of was perfect because I knew that I wanted to have you on here to talk about a few things, but this was a really, really good question that I had, and it starts out. This is from Mark R. in I don't even know where that place is, but we'll just go for it. So it says, hello, Jake and Megan. Not Jake and Kelly. Somebody actually said Jake.
Somebody thought my name was Kelly, but that's okay.
Yeah. Hello, Jake and Megan.
Hello.
I had a heart attack this past October and ended up having a stent inserted. However, during their tests, it showed that I had suffered an earlier heart attack and my heart had grown alternate blood vessels around the obstruction. All I remember of that incident a few years ago was that I had a bad case of heartburn for about a week. The much publicized OTC heartburn meds did nothing. I finally bought some probiotics and that did the trick. My question is, can the right gut flora also contribute to heart health? And then he actually went on, and I do want to read this because it's a rave review of our podcast, so why not, right? And then he goes, the podcast on bone broth was great. I'm ordering some today and starting to make my own ASAP. Come to think about it, I shouldn't get the water filter. It should go to a family with kids to start them off right. Thanks anyway, Jake and Megan. Great show. Well, he obviously has a big heart.
Yes, he does.
And this is a heart
and that's
question.
no pun intended.
Kind of. Yeah. No, Mark, we're actually going to give you the Berkey water filter.
Because you deserve it.
You deserve it. This is a really good question. And there's no better person, to answer that right now. Your specific question, which was, can the right gut flora also contribute to heart health? And so I actually want to have Dr. Josh actually shed a little light on that. Do you feel comfortable doing that, Josh?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. And hi, Mark. I hope you're listening. And I'm glad you made it through that heart attack. Well, 2 heart attacks, it sounds like. It is a fascinating question. First, it sounds like Mark had chest pain, heartburn kind of pain, which is difficult to say exactly what that was in the aftermath of that heart attack. It certainly could have been related to the matters of the heart that the doctors inserted the stent for, and it could have also been classic heartburn or gastroesophageal reflux disease, and that could have been a consequence maybe of, again, the aftermath of the surgery. Obviously, and I don't think we need to spend a lot of time talking about it, we are all probably mostly aware that the probiotics, the GI microbiome, the colony of microorganisms that inhabits the GI tract, can have an influence on gastrointestinal health, like
right.
whether it's stomach, esophagus, small intestine, large intestine. GI symptoms often respond to probiotics, and so it would be no huge surprise if really it was heartburn that he got better from probiotics. There's some data that suggests that. Probiotics are often part of treatment plan for people with heartburn. But his question is really intriguing. It's like, did the fact that I took these probiotics actually improve something with respect to my heart, right?
Correct.
And how could that even be, right? We're talking about gastrointestinal tract and a heart and vessels. And it turns out that he's actually right, and that there is evidence that the balance and the order of the microorganisms that inhabit the GI tract can actually influence, in a very real and physical way, the conditions of the heart. And there's a few different ways that this happens. So I'll give you a few bullet points that might help to explain it. It's not totally clear but what happened exactly to Mark, but here's a couple of possibilities. Number one is that there's evidence that the appropriate or the administration of probiotics, these are lactobacillus species organisms, can improve functional parameters. They can improve the power, the contractile power of the heart, and treat this problem that you might have heard of called congestive heart failure.
Yep.
Now, that's not what Mark had directly, but he may have had some alterations in his cardiac function, like the heart muscle might have gotten weaker after the heart attack. And it is possible. There's a number of different studies that have demonstrated that you can improve functional capacity of the heart and congestive heart failure with probiotics, which is kind of weird, right? Like, you would think that these organisms live inside the GI tract. How could they affect matters of the heart muscle?
Yeah.
But it turns out that there's a lot of data coming out now that tells us that the microorganisms in the GI tract have a lot more to do than just manage symptoms in the GI tract. They affect inflammatory markers, they improve digestion and absorption of minerals, which can affect, of course, other body systems. So we're not exactly sure how this effect happens, but it does improve congestive heart failure. The other thing that probiotics can do in the matters of the heart area is that there's studies, believe it or not, that the probiotics can lower cholesterol levels. Cholesterol isn't exactly associated with symptoms of chest pain, but probiotics can affect heart health by lowering cholesterol, and that's been made clear. The third thing is that probiotics can affect vitamin D levels, and vitamin D levels are clearly associated with heart health. So having optimum vitamin D is good, and taking probiotics helps vitamin D levels rise. So that's another way that you can affect heart health. A fourth, I'm going on down the list here, is that probiotics can very modestly, but it's real, lower blood pressure. Another thing that's important for somebody who just had a heart attack or someone who wants to try to prevent them. So there's 4 things:
Awesome.
heart failure, cholesterol, vitamin D, and blood pressure that are all cardiac parameters or related to cardiac parameters, and are very definitely affected by the health of and the balance of the flora living inside the bowel. So there you have it, Mark.
Awesome.
Thank you, Dr. Josh. I want to ask a question really quick about that. Now, for people out there, maybe somebody, for example, myself, there's no history of any sort of heart problems in my family. I'm, under 30 years old and, I work out, I'm active, I eat right. Or anybody out there, is a probiotic something that's good for preventative? Like, should I start taking one now, or is this really something that if you're at high risk? I mean, can anyone benefit from taking a probiotic?
So it's a great question, and I'm not sure if we're talking about like just general health, because probiotics do a lot more than heart. I mean, spinning off the question about
Right.
Mark, I would say that like probiotics would not be the first thing that I would go to in a case like Mark's, right? It's great that he found them. There's a lot of things that we can talk about maybe on another podcast about nutrition and heart health. Obviously, there's things like fish oil that you might have heard of, and things like magnesium. We talked about vitamin D, all the diet and exercise and physical activity stuff. Now, probiotics are on that list, but they're not really like the first order of business for a guy like Mark. And also, to your question, Megan, about yourself, I don't think that they're the first order of business for somebody like you either. I mean, I think about this in terms of what I call a hierarchy of therapeutics, right?
Mm-hmm.
An order of interventions. And for me, it always makes sense to start with the closest to the earth, right? That means, and by that I mean like diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, all that kind of stuff. Those are the foundational things. And when those are in place, we address the next layer, the next level, and kind of go up from there. And if a person has a history where they've taken lots of antibiotics, and there's reasons for me to suspect that their diet and their lifestyle and medications that they may have taken have influenced their GI flora in a negative way. For example, this is people who are gassy and bloated, and they have irritable bowel syndrome, these sorts of things, or they've taken tons of antibiotics, maybe for ear infections like that they had when they were a kid. That's a person where probiotics are kind of high on my list.
Right.
Okay.
I often think about it like there's a lot of you can imagine that the flora, the microbiome in the GI tract is like a garden, right? There's a lot of different plants, a lot of different species, and when it all goes well, it's a productive garden, and you get your vegetables and your herbs and your flowers and whatnot. But if there's influences that cause that garden to get disrupted, like you've got rototilled or something, or firebombed, then all of a sudden the whole thing is grown over with weeds. And in the case of lots of antibiotics and poor diets, etc., other medications, you often see a weedy garden. And a weedy garden inside your bowel means disrupted or imbalanced microflora. And those are the people in whom probiotics are the most important. It's the ones with, quote, weeds growing in their garden.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Josh.
Yes. Thanks, Josh. Wow, that's a good question. Megan, you win a Berkey Water Filter.
I'm killing it, right?
Yes.
I'm taking the one off your counter.
So to kind of make another hard left turn, we want to get into something that's actually pretty popular on our site, which is honey. Dr. Josh just wrote a book, The Honey Phenomenon.
And this is perfect for our giveaway that we're doing.
Perfect segue to our giveaway that you can actually win a jar of Manuka honey that we will send to your doorstep if you just send us one good health story. Doesn't have to be about weight loss. Doesn't have to be about.
It can be, though.
It can be. Sure, it can be. I mean, you can make healthy popcorn. And it was awesome, and you want to share the video of it, and you want to tell the story of it. Awesome. We'll determine that, though.
Yeah, we'll see who's awesome out there.
And then just submit that to Jake at thealternativedaily.com. Subject line: honey with your story, and then we're actually going to interview on a podcast.
And 3 people are going to win, so it's great.
3 people. So let's actually.
That's a valuable prize, guys.
Yeah.
I know. We keep giving away such good prizes on this show, and Jake won't let me make up a fake email.
You don't want to be a host anymore. You just want to be a listener.
I just want to keep winning.
Josh, give me the quick rundown of Manuka honey. I know from New Zealand. I know it's got some really good properties to it. Can you give the doctor's take on Manuka honey?
Yeah, absolutely. So Manuka honey is from New Zealand. It's the product of the bees gathering nectar from this rather unique species of botanical tree there in New Zealand. And there's been a huge amount of data on this honey as a healing substance. and let me just make a point, is that Manuka honey is a product that has been studied extensively in the medical literature.
Yep.
And this doesn't mean that other honeys don't maintain the same properties, right? Like there's your local honey from your local beekeeper
Right.
may also do a lot of the things that Manuka honey does. It's just that those local honeys have not been studied as
Right.
extensively. So when we, the medical people, look at data and literature, we care about like the stuff that's actually been proven. And much of the medical literature, although not all, has been done on this species from New Zealand called Manuka. So it does a lot of things. It's honey, just like any other honey. It's sweet and it's good in your tea and spread on toast or drizzled over oatmeal or something. But this particular brand of honey has been looked at for a bunch of properties. Probably the place to start is with respect to its antibacterial and antimicrobial properties. It's like a natural antibiotic. Nothing grows in the stuff. In fact, honey has been shown to basically never go bad. I think it's been found in Egyptian tombs and thousands of year old honey. And
that's so cool.
It maintains its freshness. It maintains its taste and stuff. So part of the reason for that is because no bad stuff grows in it. And when you're dealing with infections, whether they're internal infections in the lung, in the throat, sinuses, etc., or superficial infections like those on the skin, honey can be applied or taken internally, and it will exert an antibacterial and antimicrobial effect. And there's been mountains of data on Manuka honey and that particular indication. In fact, these days there's a lot of companies, high-tech sort of drug pharma companies, that put Manuka honey into special wound dressings and bandages and gauze pads and stuff that are used in surgeries and post-surgeries and in burn care. So this is becoming a rather high-tech thing, but it started with just simple Manuka honey, and that's the place to start. It's like it's antibacterial, also anti-inflammatory is another thing. Yeah, you had a question.
Yeah, it's funny. Is actually there was a question that came in a couple of years ago. We were reading an article about bees and stuff like that, and the question was, is honey bee vomit?
Honey's not bee vomit, so you can rest easy there. It's not. No, it's
it's the tastiest vomit ever.
It's not bee poop either.
It's not bee poop either. All right.
No. It's not excrement. It's not waste.
No, it's absolutely not. And you can actually find more about the book that that we're talking about here, thehoneybook.com, honeybook.com. And it's actually Dr. Josh's book that is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it is. It's really interesting.
And it's actually, it's extremely successful and selling really well on thealternativedaily.com, but you can actually get it directly at thehoneybook.com. Josh, you didn't even know you had a domain for thehoneybook.com, did you?
This is news to me.
Big time.
Yeah, roll out the red carpet.
Thank you for the kind words. But, I'm glad people are liking it. It's a remarkable substance, and it deserves its moment in the sun. Honey deserves its 15 minutes of fame, I think. I'm glad to help to shine light on it.
Can I ask you a quick question about honey as it relates to people, consuming it? Now, a lot of people out there, maybe when they're trying to lose weight or get healthy, a lot of people think, oh, I have to cut out all sugars, so things like honey or any sort of sweeteners like a honey, for example. It's still okay to use, right? These are natural sugars that occur in honey, and you would never say to somebody, yeah, you need to cut honey out of your diet. Even with a healthy diet and healthy weight loss and management, honey is still something you can consume, right?
I mean, you shouldn't do like a honey chugging contest.
No, of course
right?
not. But I mean, people
like put it in a funnel and let it just drip down.
But if you don't want to eat a lot of sugar,
slow
right?
Drip.
All right. If you don't want to eat a lot of sugar, you could put honey in your coffee, or you could sweeten a piece of toast with honey or something. And that's still okay, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I think in my view, honey is the sweetener of choice for the human population, right? For species, just in general.
Right.
I think Jake's right. Like, I wouldn't be chugging it. Honey is very sweet. It's
well, the only thing Jake
sugar.
likes to chug is beer. So let's be honest.
I can beat anybody out there in a beer chugging contest.
It's a sweet substance, and it's a sugary substance, right? It's got a number of different sugars in there. Fructose, probably somewhere between 38 and 40% fructose. It's got glucose and maltose and other things that end in O. So honey is a sugar-containing substance. The odd thing, and this is to your question, Megan, is like you would think that consuming a sugary substance would have an adverse or negative impact on your blood sugar and on all the things you're talking about, like weight management,
Right.
diabetes, these kinds of problems. And weirdly, honey does not seem to have a really dramatic negative effect. In fact, it may even have a positive effect in many of those conditions. And this is the sort of thing, and this is one of the reasons why this honey project got my attention in the first place, was I started reading literature about the impact of honey on diabetics. Now, for anybody who knows anything about diabetes, I mean, the simplest thing to say is this is a high blood sugar disease, and people with that problem should avoid eating things with sugar because it's just going to make the problem worse, right? But it turns out that it doesn't. Eating honey and consuming honey in reasonable amounts, right? Again, no chugging, but like modest amounts, maybe on oatmeal or in a little bit of coffee or tea or something, does not have a negative impact on diabetes. In fact, might even improve glycemic controls in both type 2 and type 1 diabetics. And that really sparked my attention and made me think, wow, this is so weird. Like, how can a sweet substance lower blood sugar?
Yeah.
And it turns out that the organization of the sugars, the other antioxidants and other compounds that are inside honey, blunt the spike in blood sugar that you see, that you would expect to see, and confer other health benefits to people who struggle with that. So I think, I didn't clearly answer your question, Megan. I think honey can be included safely, and be a part of virtually anybody's diet. And like I say, I think it's the sweetener of choice. If you're really, really trying to go low carb or ketogenic or something like that, honey is a source of carbohydrates because it contains fructose and glucose. So there's selected instances where I might have somebody avoid it. But for the vast majority of people, even those who have blood sugar and cardiometabolic problems, honey can be safely included in reasonable doses.
Well, and
Wow,
Dr. Josh
cool.
is he's the one that turned me on to honey in my coffee. Because before I'd actually always use coconut crystals, which is good, and I actually like that stuff. And then, he just puts, local honey in his coffee, and I was like, that's brilliant. That's how I should, because I'm not, as I said, every single podcast, I'm not a
You're
sweet
not
person.
a sweet person. You're very salty.
I'm very salty. No, but, and it's good because I don't view it as super sweet. So it's just kind of gives a little hint, like a little sweet kick to my coffee. So thanks, Dr. Josh.
Thank you, doctor.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
And it's actually also, it is, by the way, a bit sweeter than sugar. So the other thing that is an advantage there is because it's sweeter than sugar, you can get away with using less of it too. So I appreciate the sweet hint in the coffee in the morning. I feel like I'm doing something good for myself in both the coffee and the honey. And there's data actually, and a number of studies and recipes and stuff in the book about how to use honey and coffee to treat coughs and colds. There's some remarkable information in there. So it's liquid gold.
Liquid gold.
And that's at thehoneybook.com.
Thehoneybook.com. And it's funny because, as I said earlier in the podcast, how Noah burnt her hand. One of the things Dr. Josh said was put some honey on it. I did not. Could you imagine trying to put honey on a screaming 3-year-old and just having her touch everything? So I wasn't able to get her to calm down, but we were actually able to do it. But one of the recommendations Dr. Josh had was honey. More importantly, Dr. Josh plays the guitar. If he was in,
we gotta have a jam band.
If he was in studio with us, you could actually do our opening of the podcast for us. But fun.
Yeah, I could play that little riff. I've heard that little riff.
Yeah. The funny thing was actually as I was dropping Noah off to school today on the radio, it was Darius Rucker ripping off not the string cheeses in it. What's the name of the band? I forget. Ripping off Bob Dylan, Wagging Wheel. And
oh my gosh, that's a Dr. Josh classic.
So Darius Rucker was
Wheel.
playing it, and I heard it kind of like in the back. We were talking, and I heard it in the background. So I turned it up and just waited. In like 5 seconds, she stops talking. She's like, oh, "Dr. Josh played this." Yes. So Dr. Josh
was one
is
of my biggest fans.
Oh yes.
Well, that's because you played the Frozen song for her like 5 times.
Dr. Josh can play "Let It Go." He can play it on the damn guitar, which makes me look like a terrible father, but he can play "Let It Go."
Thank you so much, Dr.
Yeah,
Josh,
Dr. Josh,
for joining us.
Thanks so much. As I mentioned, Dr. Josh wrote it's on at thehoneybook.com. Dr. Josh, thanks so much, and we'll be in touch soon.
All right. You all.
Bye, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
Bye.
All right,
again,
that was awesome.
one of my favorite people
He's
in
so
the entire
cool.
world. Yes.
He's got a great family.
Really, really great family. And then I did want to get to one last question before we wrap up. And
this is an honorable mention from the Berkey Water Filter Giveaway, and we just want to let you guys know there were so many amazing questions that you guys submitted, and a lot of them have really given us some great inspiration for some
Yeah,
ideas
we'll still use
that
some of
we
these,
want to
yeah.
talk about on podcasts. And, don't feel bad if you didn't win. Of course, we congratulate Mark out there who did win because of his great question and, how he was able to sort of help himself after having those heart attacks. But we will be doing giveaways. We're going to try and do a giveaway just about every podcast. So don't feel bad if you didn't win something today. There's still lots and lots of time. I mean, I feel bad that I don't get the Berkey water filter or the Manuka
Hey,
honey.
you can have some water there. I'll make some for you. Here's the question. Megan.
I love this question.
Megan, could you please address the dangers of smart meters being basically installed without our consent by energy companies? I have heard radiation levels contribute to medical issues as well as overall health. I have heard that the meters also measure ambient heat from appliances, and that results in added charges to the electric meter bill. I think your take on the subject would enlighten people and at least make them aware that there are or may be dangerous to this new technology, so they should research it further. And that's Kathy. Kathy, thanks for the question. And Megan, what is your answer?
That's a great question, Kathy.
I'm putting Megan on the spot.
I'm going to say I have no idea.
Well, here's the funny thing is we were talking about this
This
before the
question
show.
stresses me out. It's too smart for me.
Megan looked at this. She was like, oh, my God, what is this? So here's what this is.
I live in an apartment, by the way. I don't even know what the hell a smart meter is.
So here's what happens. So on the side of houses.
Do you have one?
I don't know if I have a smart meter or not.
Oh, you're great authority to
they
speak
might
on
be.
this.
They might be new ones, but I have an idea. On the side of every house, and even your apartment complex has this. There's this box.
I don't think you've seen where I live.
There's this box, and on this box, I'm gonna make it really elementary. There's this like white glass thing.
Oh, I've seen.
And you think
this
this thing that spins around.
Yeah.
That's the old school style. So what would happen is like every once in a while you'd have like one of the electric dudes would come up into your yard, go up to it and read it, make something on the pen and paper and go by. Well, now what they've started to do is actually they've put this, the smart meter on the side of your house. And what they can actually now do is just drive by and just kind of bloop, bloop, just kind of like have a gun and just aim at it.
Don't even have to get out of the car anymore.
By the way, I think this is what it is. And so I think what Kathy's concerned about is, with the radiation levels as they're trying to zap that back and forth. We don't actually have an answer on that, Kathy, but it's a really good question. I'm actually going to, we're going to research that. This. But I wanted to kind of put Megan on the spot.
Because that question stressed me out.
It's stressed her out.
So we are, again, with that question, Kathy, but a lot of the other ones too. There were some great ones. We're going to do a lot of research on some of these. There was a great one about fermented foods that I want to talk about because I love fermented foods. I eat a lot of kimchi and I drink kombucha. Yeah. So, and just because I truly do love the taste of that stuff. So we're going to be researching a lot of these questions.
And there's one follow-up one too. This is the third one that I actually wanted to ask. It's a really good one. This is from Judy. And Judy asks, could beef bones from a cow, grass-fed and responsibly slaughtered, be used in place of the chicken for the broth? I will definitely try the chicken broth, but right now I have beef bones right here.
Yes.
So I don't know if Judy had actually slaughtered the cow by herself.
I know. Judy sounds like a badass.
She sounds like a badass with a butcher knife, just sitting there, just like she's probably like typing this with one hand, like with a meat cleaver in the other.
Bloody
it's all bloody. But yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Beef broth is that.
That's what. Yeah, that's what David said. David had said you could even make lamb broth.
Yeah.
If you wanted
so
something
if you
really
want to
rich.
sacrifice a lamb, just be very careful with your local laws and stuff.
But yes, you can use anything as long as, remember, whether it's beef or chicken or lamb, you always want to get the highest quality grass-fed organic meat.
So that does it for us. I just picked up.
You just
the
threw the
topic
papers
threw
like
the
you graduated high school.
We did it. Megan, have an awesome trip
Thank
to Alaska.
you. Have a good time at the most magical place in the world.
I'll send you a picture of me with all the princesses.
With Rafiki.
Rafiki.
Surrounded by all the princesses.
Surrounded by all the princesses.
Such a pimp.
And where can you find us?
You can find us online at thealternativedaily.com. That's where we're going to post this podcast. The podcast is also available on soundcloud.com, and you can even download the SoundCloud app, and it's a great music app. But, of course, we are also on iTunes under the podcast section. We've been featured quite a few times under the new and noteworthy section. So please find us on iTunes.
Please review us.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Wherever you listen to us, please rate us. Please review us. Even if you don't love us, give us constructive criticism. We want to hear from you guys. We want to know what you guys think. So the good, the bad, the ugly. But, try and be nice and
Megan,
respectful.
how can they get a free bottle of Manuka honey?
If you want a free bottle of Manuka honey, you have to email Jake at thealternativedaily.com. Your subject line is going to be honey, and you need to share with us a personal story about your health journey, whether that's something that you do every day to stay healthy, whether it's a way that you turned your life around. It can be anything you want. Send us in your personal health story. Here's the catch, though. You have to be comfortable with the fact that we are going to want to read your story out loud on our show.
To
and,
you.
Yeah, and we are going to have you on our show. We're going to call you in just like we did with Dr. Josh, but you have to answer on the first time.
That's right.
We're going to call you, and you're going to share it with our viewing listening audience, not viewing audience. So please, that is Jake at thealternativedaily.com, subject line honey, and 3 people are going to win. And again, research Manuka honey. See how awesome it is. Check out thehoneybook.com.
Or just buy the honey book, go to thehoneybook.com, buy the book, and learn all about it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And this is like a serious jar of honey, too. It's
Yep.
valued at like $50.
Yep. And Mark, congratulations on your Berkey Water Filter. Excellent question. I hope that helped out. And
You're going to contact Mark and
I am
going to win it?
Yeah, and then yes, I actually am going to contact Mark. And I'm going to play us the outro on my air guitar. And
Bing, 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 bing.
all right, everybody, have a great week.
Bye, guys. See you soon.